You hear that song that we all love now. Only means one thing. David Tell has brought his comedy thugs into our studio with us. Jesse Joyce is here, as well as Big J. Good to see you guys.
Thanks again. This is, I guess, this would be the Preakness.
Yes,
this would be like the third or fourth time or something.
Yeah, because you came in, I think, as it was starting, and then you dropped in the middle, and now I can't believe it's the end of the first season.
It's the end of the run, and that's why Jay is here. He was on the first episode, and Jesse Joyce, who's on the last episode. So full circle, and nobody promoted the show harder than Ron and Fez.
Oh, that's very nice. Well, let me tell you, I'm such a big fan of the show, and now, not to attack other things, but with Last Comic Standing on, you get to see the difference of presentation, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when you see, like, on your show, like, everybody really did well. Mm-hmm. But to me, Lynn Coppola just throttled the room, her show, and then you see her on Last Comic Standing, and they're trying to give her advice of what she should be doing. You know what I mean? Like, you started out sounding a little bit like Joan Rivers. I don't think... You're like, what are you talking about?
Oh, that show is it's 2 episodes and I'm furious.
You're already mad about it, huh?
Man, but guess which one my mom's watching? Yes, Last Comic Standing.
And asking you if you can get on there.
Exactly. And she thinks I'm on there.
I read an article. They made an interesting point that it's like they're having people who haven't done stand-up in 20 years give advice to contemporary stand-ups. You know what I mean? So it's like...
But that is what life is like, though. You know, like, wherever you go in the world, like, if you watch sports, it's guys that used to play sports bitching about guys that are playing sports now. And you never see one of those guys who are like, look, I played quarterback. It's really fucking hard. Right. You know? You got 1 second to get the ball out of your hand.
I feel like it's like Civil War reenactors training special forces guys.
So you wouldn't do it? You wouldn't go out there?
I did it a couple years ago when Geraldo was the judge, because he was like, you should do it. It's going to be fun. So, and it was a good time.
Yeah, but this could actually be good for a lot of those.
Totally.
Guys.
It's great for them. Like, I'm not disparaging it. I just think that, like, the judging thing is a weird element of it.
I'll disparage it.
Yeah,
do it, Jay.
It's horrible. It is. No, you're saying people giving advice. Why are they giving? And it's such obvious bad advice a lot of times.
Right.
Like, Keenan Ivory Wayans has nothing to say about stand-up comedy. It's a weird thing to do.
Well, he had an interesting thing, like he was saying to Rocky Laporte, you really need to pick up the pacing of what you're doing. But Rocky's done this, you know what I mean? He's done this character for 26 years.
Do you know, did you see the, I think it's like Britain's Got Talent or Australia's Got Talent? One
they
of those
all
shows.
Have talent, though.
But they're all good. But they had one of those shows where they had the guy come out and did a bunch of, like, he moved on to the next round, but he did a bunch of stolen jokes, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Which were...
It was amazing.
He got called. So then he comes out on... It becomes a national news thing, and it's all on YouTube. You can find it. And he... But he moved on to the next round, so he's got to come back for... I guess they could have said no, but they let him come back for the next round. And he goes out there, acknowledges it, tries to do his own jokes. They're horrible. It goes bad. He ends it on singing the song "I Started a Joke" with the, and then it ends... And then the judges judge him, and they tell him it was terrible, but actually give the advice on their national television that he goes, you should just, like, you're made to do this because your delivery is great. He goes, but you should just, like, keep taking other people's jokes. They say you should continue to take other people's jokes, and I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you watch American Idol, they steal a lot of those songs. That's how those songs.
That should be the contest. Cover comedy.
That's the infuriating argument that they're all making is like, well, people cover songs all the time. Why can't we? It's so...
Yeah, they make that point. They go, why people came out and sing other people's songs?
That really could be just called, like, stand up in Iowa, where you can get far enough away, walk into a club, and everybody in Vermont in, like, this guy's great.
The problem with those shows for comics, especially like the Got Talent shows, is that that second part of it is only more difficult for the comic when they just bring you. They have you go in front of like a big, huge, jacked up audience, and then they bring you out to like whatever Vegas, and they make you do it for just 3 judges. Like that's only becomes more difficult for the comedians. Like it's like a musician can just start playing the song, and Magic Act does the magic.
Well,
but
for that show, it's tough. I'd never vote against a dog, no matter what is happening. Like that dog's great.
So when you lose to a dog.
Yeah, they're great.
Well, those shows, I think, I always ask the young guys, I go, why would you do those shows? Because you're not that kind of act. And they'd be like, well, this is the only way I'm going to get, like, road work or something like that. And I'm like, that's how sad it is.
Yeah.
I really do think that's like the real sadness of today's times.
I told two young comics, like 2-year comics in Philly a couple years back, when they were like, "Hey, we're driving up tomorrow. We're going to go camp out all night and like wait in line for Last Comic Stand." I'm like, first of all, that's all just be real shit anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, but also, like, more importantly, I was like, they're like, well, why not? I'm like, because honestly, what if you win? What are you prepared to do with that if you win? Let's just say the 15 minutes you have just tickles them in the way that you slip through the crack and you get to like the top 3 or something. Like, what are you prepared to do with that? You're going to go do one round of touring. This is what happened with everybody. You eat shit and then you never come back again, or you come back as a feature act anyway. It's just like, it's very it's a weird thing, man. That's why I said to Schubert when he called in the other day. Remember, I was like, it's weird to see Schubert in there with some of the people.
He called back again this week. He's pumped. He wants it to hit. Yeah, he wants it. Joe Mackey destroyed.
Absolutely.
Literally trended that night. He just trends on Twitter because people are like, I don't know who this kid is, but I love him.
Great. What did you think of the Go Fuck Yourself kid?
I didn't. I thought that the thing that came down is that he got the other judge who said you did an old joke.
Russell,
Russell said that, yeah. Said it was more hurtful than having a fight with Roseanne.
It's true. I think it is true, but it's so weird. Like, somehow that kid's wearing like a badge of honor. It's so...
Because it's anything to get you known.
But that is so... Because my problem with... The reason I even knew that came up was I was talking about doing a show, and I was like, hey, I said, a comic who's so good, like, in this weird scenario, reverted back to like a hacky old joke. And I said he came out on stage and started with like doing nothing and saying, you know, hey, when you don't start working the second you get to your jobs.
Right.
And then, and Kurt Metzger goes, oh yeah. He goes, that's the thing on Last Comes In that the kid gets in the fight with Roseanne for. And I'm like, really? Like, he tried. I feel like that's glazed over. I think he's like, oh, he got sassy with Roseanne as his pump up. He goes, he did it's hard to even call it a stolen joke. It's like he did a public domain joke. It's like going on TV with like hey, we could have done this in my car. There's so few people here.
Yeah, the term was always stock. That's a stock, which means you're not stealing. It belongs to everybody.
It's in the ether.
So now he is he's the guy to beat on the show?
No, he's off the show.
Kind of an anti-hero.
Yeah,
he's an anti-hero.
Everyone's like, yeah, but it's like, why would he didn't do anything noble? He didn't do like a cool thing at all.
He took a joke from the Library of Congress.
And how do they take you off the show? Like in Trump's show, you roll your rolling bag to the elevator, and then some guy puts you in a limo or car service to LaGuardia Airport.
A montage of sad piano music.
Like, how do they do it on this show? Like, what do they do?
Well, yeah, I did it like 4 years ago. I don't know if it's the same at all because I haven't watched it, but they made it where it's like, you know, there were 40 people who were in my semifinal round, but they only ended up showing on TV 20. So 20 of the people who were in it, you would have never known. They got like edited out from the beginning, like 2 episodes ago.
Weird. Really?
So you just would have never known that they participated in the thing the whole time. And so like everybody was like, I don't know, am I going to be one of the ones who get cut? But I ended up being like the moment of drama at the very end. Like I kind of knew I wasn't going to win, but they had it down to me and one guy. So it was like, all right, so everybody's going to get to watch me lose for sure.
But probably because it was either something about your look or your voice where the producer went, this is the kind of guy we like to root against. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause it is a TV show. Like, they're not like, hey, let's push comedy ahead, or they're like, how can we make a TV show that people will watch and not turn off?
Right.
So they don't care if people get edited poorly. That's not their concerns.
Yeah. Poor Gomez. Gomez was the commercial all week. Got taken out of the show completely.
Yeah.
Completely erased from the show, but he was the commercial all week.
Huh. Doubly humiliated yesterday because he offered to put his tongue on Fez's balls to recreate something that you and him did, and Fez, locked up, shut down, and then later said he would never do that with Gomez because he was afraid of a disease.
From Gomez?
From Gomez.
I didn't know where that tongue's been.
I've never heard
he's
of
a married man, I thought.
Yeah. He didn't tell you? He didn't tell you where it's been?
Yeah, I explained. That's why you have no problem doing it.
See, now that would be more of a store search kind of you remember Store Search? Like, nobody ever brings up Store Search anymore. All these shows have been like remastered, remixed, but it's Store Search.
It is Star Search.
Didn't we talk about this at one point? I think Store Search.
Star Search, but Star Search would do comedy and then singing. They did all the things.
Model.
Yeah,
modeling.
Modeling.
That was the best part.
Yeah.
The spokesmodel?
The model, yeah, that was it when I was like 13. It couldn't have been a better time in my life.
And then they made people stand next to each other while their scores came up.
And then have to shake hands.
Extra humiliating.
And you were just always losing. He was just feeding people to Sinbad.
There's a fun
Sinbad stand there.
Sinbad made it his show for like 18 weeks and then lost at the end. But this would actually be a great documentary because Sinbad kind of went out looking like a regular kid, and then as it went along, he just started dyeing his hair, buying leather jackets. He's wearing giant pants, and he's like, you're watching stardom fuck with someone's head over the course of a summer.
Yeah.
It was like Heartbreak Hotel, but in real time.
One of my favorite when I first started. When Keith Robinson first started bringing us up from Philadelphia, it's one of my favorite stories was him talking about Star Search. It's great when you lose on a show to a guy who doesn't go on to like comedy fame. Right. Like the guy he lost to became like the skunky beer face guy. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah.
Like Don something. Don. He became a skunky. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember that.
Don't get called a skunky beer face.
But that was like all I remember is Kevin Brennan versus what's his name, Cheese. That guy. Do you remember?
Cheese?
He had like a long name, but he lives in I'm not sure if it was Tommy Cheese or one of these guys, but he lives in Vegas, and that was like the one where I was like, wow, this is weird, because I was like, Kevin is a great comic.
And he lost?
Yeah, and I always thought of him as a star. Right. And since they were searching for stars, I was like, what happened here?
Yeah, you found the star. Stop searching.
That's the thing about these new competitions. They're not looking for stars. They're looking for like specific things. I think we should go back to the original, a complete star, you know? Whether they're a comic, a spokesmodel.
Like Hal Holbrook, just do it all. Some summer stuff, some tap dancing.
A dancer.
I never knew Hal Holbrook would be the go-to guy.
I saw some documentary years ago where it was like, he was talking about being a time where it was like, you had to act, sing, dance, do stand-up.
Like it was like sword lessons. They put you in the school.
You had to be ambidextrous before they even let you on stage.
Voices this week. We're working on voices with you kids. And then nose jobs.
The season finale of Dave Attell's Comedy Underground this Saturday night at 1 a.m. Eastern on Comedy Central. The lineup, Jesse Joyce, Al Jackson, Tom Rhodes, special guest Ron Jeremy. And then after Comedy Underground, Dave Attell's special Road Work. That's going to air right after the season finale of Comedy Underground. And Big J Okerson's in studio with us. He's going to be at the Stand tonight and tomorrow with shows at 8 and 10. Of course, he's got his podcast, Legion of Skanks. And Jesse Joyce is going to be appearing at the Comedy Spot in Scottsdale, Arizona on June 13th and 14th.
You know, I'm just going to pull the curtain back here. In radio, that's considered the laundry list.
I love it.
I mean, you're just reading a list, Fez. You didn't put any heart into it.
Really?
It seemed like you didn't care. And if I was a listener, I'd be tuning it out.
Oh.
That's like when you live in a place where they have like a tornado warning comes on your, like an Amber Alert.
Yeah,
that was like,
exactly.
we were in a mode here. Everything was gelling there. So like, bang, info.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we're at the train station, you're giving out every stop for the next 2,000 miles. You know? You lost us.
All right, I'll see what I can do with the next one.
I mean, when you lose Big J and it's his career that you're plugging, that's the thing.
See, this would be a great category on Star Search. How to throw a plug, you know? I'd like to see, Ed McMahon would be like, or a Merv Griffin would say, like, ease your way into it, like a Dinah Shore or somebody would be like, oh, that's a funny story. Then, bang, 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 bang.
Now, see, Ed really had that thing of knowing show business like anyone else. One time when I was working in Florida, I'm on the radio, and he called in to do something, and then, all it was a phoner. I answered the phone, we put it on the air, and he goes, Ron, as you know, I'd never come down to Florida without checking in with you first. I hope everything's going great. And he put, I'm like a young guy, but he puts me over with my audience, so they're like, oh, you're friends with Ed McMahon. You know what I mean? Because he knew that show business gimmick to act like, this is good for you, kid. Stand right next to me. So, Fez, that's what we were missing there. You look like a guy. It seemed like you had a gun to your head.
All right, you want that Ed McMahon element.
I was looking for
Well, actually, if you plug my dates, just tell them that I'm friends with Ed McMahon. That carries a lot of weight with the listeners still.
But it looked like, you were going to have Courage Mom in your on your shirt in Morse code so that the CIA would be able to pick up on it.
Can I hate to switch gears here, but like the comics on the last one are amazing. But you must know Tom Rhodes from back in the day,
yeah,
because Tom was a legend in Florida. I believe he started in Florida. And he's our, I guess you could say he's the Rolling Stone everywhere.
Is that right?
Lived in Europe for like 5-6 years. Had his own talk show over there.
There's been nobody who's taken to the road more
than Tom Rhodes.
He worked internationally. Yeah. Here's what happened with Tom Rhodes, because I've known him since he was a kid, and I've known him forever. He got really, really hot. Started doing stuff for MTV back in like early 90s. Got a comedy special that was like great, where he went to Vietnam. They gave him a sitcom, The Mr. Rhodes Show.
Yes.
And it was like literally one of those things where they forced him into a thing that
He's
made
like a teacher or something,
Yeah,
right?
he played a teacher, but he became the straight man on the show with like little kids saying awful things to him, It was just stupid, but he took the money. When that was done, he was like, fuck everything that happened. And I don't even think he's had a home. He just lives in hotels all around the world, going and doing stand-up, and like got back to the thing that really drove him,
Yes.
It's a really interesting story. I don't know anybody else that I could say has worked like that, who's treated the road like, I'm going to go to places that have great museums. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not chasing the what my, is this going to get me a Carson shot? He just went out and did it.
It's gigs too that just like sound like, if you got them, you'd be like, oh, shit. Like, he's like, hey, he goes, I'm excited, I'm doing this, and I'm going to run over to Hanoi. And like, what?
He's in Shanghai right now.
Yeah.
He really, I love the idea that, like, if you have a sitcom and it doesn't work, you have to move out of the country. I think that would be great.
Country.
We all should do that.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'm sorry.
Right.
Excommunicated from comedy.
You ever have a friend who, like, broke up with a girl and then just shaved her head? You know what I mean? And
if that happened,
like,
then
fuck it.
Carlos Mencia, we'd have to have him go to Mexico for the first time.
Oh, see,
he's not a Mexican.
Jesse is one of our best, because he also is a writer.
Yeah.
He's written multiple times on the roast. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about, can I talk about your brother for a second? Like, just
in vaguer terms.
In vague terms. But the thing that since how I like to put together these theme shows, kind of. Jesse and Tom's brothers both are like ex-military, super hardcore, like commando types.
Is that right?
Yeah. And Al, I'm not exactly sure. I assume Al played a part in a Vietnam movie. He's black, and I think it's really cool, because we should do another show where your brothers come down and fight it out.
I think Al was responsible for smuggling heroin into soldiers' coffins.
Yeah. That's all about the Benjamins.
Yeah, it is. But so you got badass brothers.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. He's my younger brother too, and the timeline where I could beat the shit out of him, really, it was like when I was 13 and he was not 9. That's when it stopped.
I'll set up this, because I think we could do a big pay-per-view on this. Your brothers fighting Jimmy Schubert's brothers, sight unseen, because they're just Philly street guys.
I like
it. They'll go like this. None of that stepped on. So
they're toughening up their fists over a garbage fire right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever talked to Schubert on the phone?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Isn't that he has the best voice for a drug deal?
Yeah.
But like, it's never for information. It's all, I'm like, hold on a second. We're bad. What are we on, walkie-talkies?
Did the Eagle land yet? Did those hockey tickets come in? Because I want them on the glass.
I'm getting good feedback.
He's very funny. Schubert, I've never done coke with anyone who's enjoyed it less. You know what I mean? The second he does it, he has his eye in a peephole going for 12 fucking hours. For 12 hours. And like, you think like, oh, that's a funny premise. No. He literally is just up at a fucking peephole.
And shushing you?
Well, I swear to God, one time we were in this fucking thing, it was like 5 or 6 hours deep into it, and like there's a knock at the hotel door. While he's been sitting there for hours, we're like, stop it, no one's there. And he just goes like this. It's Appleloff's girlfriend. And then we had to go, so let her in. You know what I mean? She's our friend. She's not a cop.
Is she working for somebody?
Yeah.
Is she working for someone?
But, this whole thing's going to work out. Schubert.
Speaking of Schubert, he was the one I watched his underground set.
Great.
And,
Crushed.
And he did crush, but he was an example of what I thought was so cool, because I know at first you said the kind of the thing was like, this is going to be a dirty show with whatever, but it didn't, like, Schubert wasn't necessarily dirty. What was great about it was there was nothing forced in his cadence, because in one of the transitions, it might have been one of the only times he even cursed, he goes, and somebody goes, it's like, and what the fuck are you going to do when it comes, and I just like, that was the moment there I clicked. I was like, just that he doesn't have to worry about that makes the set so much smoother than watching one like on Last Comic Standing. And it's funny to have him as an example, because he's doing both and did great on both, but like what you'd prefer to almost watch. You know what I mean?
He destroyed on the Underground show. I mean, just came out.
Yeah, he really did have a great set.
Really came out swinging. You could tell that he
wanted the sets of the series.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like I was in the room too. Like it was enormous.
And like you could see how fun he was having. But the Last Comic Standing thing, he went out and did a professional job at selling the backstory of. I don't know whether you guys saw it, but they did like 25 years on the road, showing like old pictures of him. Was friends with Sam Kinison. Work the door, like we're supposed to care about him as a person, rather than just letting him go out and just start throwing hands.
I like they had one backstory on there where the girl was like, Louis C.K. I saw him one time, had a conversation with him, and I was like, how do you get better comedy? He goes, listen, you got to just go on the road. You got to go on the road, work and do road comedy. Take it to the people. And she goes, so I became a college comedian. And it's like, I don't think that's what he meant. I don't think he meant performing nooners in a cafeteria. Like was what he did. And then they show her performing like a well-lit, there's like a bookshelf behind her and everything. I was like,
where there's no other comedians to police your behavior.
Yeah.
I was like anyone who takes advice so to heart. And that's when I was told, wash your dishes after you eat. I never forgot that.
If I had to tell me when the turning point was, it was that dishes thing.
So Jesse, you had a. I can't wait to see your set.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, I thought it was a blast.
And you were there for the entire season.
Yeah. I was kind of backstage with Dave.
Yeah, they were trying to. Him and Mike Vecchione were hired in to help me, because I had just run out of jokes. From the special, I did my special, so I was like, I know I needed opening jokes, and we also had the element of bringing in the celebrity, people like, Amy Schumer and Jim Norton and all those guys already lying. So it was like we were trying to figure out what to do, and I think at the end of the day, we came up with some great lines, but we also came up with a lot of I guess we're just gonna wing it. There's a lot of that, and Jesse's a really good joke writer. I mean, you've written on all the roasts, you've written for some really big names, and you're also a comic, so jokes are really important to you, and Mike also is another joke guy, so it's the kind of thing where if it was anybody else, I don't like doing anybody's material, and him and I we kind of get it that we got to make it your own, but I think that if you're going to talk about writing and writing for another guy, you should talk about Geraldo, because I think that must have been you were at a certain level and he was at a certain level, and that must have been that time where it was you're both learning. How to I really don't think you told me that he would do it as written, but I still don't.
Yeah, he really would. That was I really got spoiled because he was the first dude I ever wrote for. So writing for him was just it really was.
He was your maker. If this was vampire terms, he would be your maker.
Okay, now I understand. Now, all right, I didn't know.
I want to leave out the goth punk steam pipe kids out there. Go ahead. I want to talk about boring writing. Go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
No. So I mean, yeah, he just really kind of taught me everything about how to do, because he was such a great writer on his own. But then the fact that he trusted me to just hand him jokes and he would just do them as written was really kind of boosted. It's a big confidence game, just like stand-up is too, so you just have to.
But is it one of those things where you got 30 seconds to write one of these things and hand it over?
Well, we'd work on the roast weeks in advance and everything, but then
there's stuff on the fly, right?
Yeah, there would be stuff where I'd be backstage, and
that's
I came up with backstage. There was because we didn't know till we got there what the set looked like for the Hasselhoff roast, and it turned out he was sitting on a lifeguard chair. Mm-hmm. And so just kind of on the spot, I was like, because Pam Anderson was there too. So I was like, why don't you do something hey, it's fitting that you're in the lifeguard chair because that's what you're most known for. I guess when we roasted Pam, she should have been sitting on a dick, right? So those are only things you can kind of do when you're there in the room to be able to see it.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah. So that's really a lot of fun. And that's kind of what we played around with too, because I was at all the tapings. So, just being able to like, kind of whisper something to Dave before he went back out, just to.
But that to me is like the purity. Like that's what like Mel Brooks used to do for Sid Caesar.
Yeah.
When he did those live shows, like where are the writers?
Right.
That's where like even the term "kids in the hall" came from, because they would just keep like the writers would have just like young guys in the hall.
Yeah.
And when they couldn't come up with anything, they would bring them in and just scream at them until they wrote the one gag that worked, and then they'd send them back out again.
It takes like a certain like sort of temperament too, because I've done writing for people infrequently. Just no, I don't want to say anything.
On this season of Last Comic Standing,
I wrote episode 1. No, but when you write for other people, like one thing that's just being a little bit spoiled. Like too in the beginning, like I wrote some like punch up stuff on like Chappelle season 1,
right?
And he makes anything you put down great.
Yeah,
Geraldo will make it like he definitely had your vision, because the stuff killed. But I remember talking to Kurt Metzger once about that, because he writes so much. So he's like, dude, as soon as you write it and hand it off, he goes, stop giving a fuck about it. It's not your baby anymore. Because that's the hardest thing. What I had a hard time was like, I wrote for one person ever on a roast, and like watching the delivery of the things you wrote, and you're just like,
oh my god,
like, that's not what I pictured when I said that.
Because Geraldo and I worked together on all the roasts and the one that he died right before the Trump roast. Mm-hmm. So they kind of just grandfathered me into like, well, we'll have you write for people, but because I always had like a deal where it was just me and Greg. And then so for the Trump roast, they kind of just had me like throwing jokes to Larry King, and like to go from writing jokes from Geraldo to just watching Larry King just fuck it up, and then just
watch like a face. So you're looking at me like, oh shit,
and then not just fuck it up, but then try to bail it out by telling a street joke about golfing. You know what I mean? Like he'd kind of fuck up the joke, and then he'd just go like, man walks into a bar, and it's like, what the fuck? It's a roast, dude.
Didn't one girl on one of those roasts did a thing in the middle, like just like an actress chick, she goes, blame the writers. Like she actually
Trump did that.
Was it when
he fucking threw us under the bus completely, and he was such a cunt about it. Like I couldn't stand it.
That's hard to believe.
Oh, dude,
I really like that.
A man
Donnie
of the
Trump.
people.
Yeah. No, I've worked with it. I worked with him. I was in his presence twice, and kind of threw out a joke. And the one time it was the thing that's infuriating about him is that he got the script and then he gave it back to us, and he had redacted it like a real estate contract. Oh, God. Like it was just all black marks over jokes. It's like, that's not what we needed you to. We just wanted to say, can you say these things? Like, we're not asking for your comedy opinion. But then his only contribution to any of the jokes was that he would jack up the numbers. Like, there was a bit where it was like, what's the difference between Donald Trump's head and a wet raccoon? A wet raccoon doesn't have $6 billion or whatever. And he crossed out 6 and he put 8. You know what I mean?
Great.
And it's like, that's
funnier. That is funny. You're going to give him that one.
Yeah. Cadence.
Yeah.
For his 1% of crowd, they know 6
a funny word.
is trash.
Get it?
Everybody's got 6 billion.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Comedy Underground, it's the last of the first season.
Yep.
Jesse Joyce, Al Jackson, and then Tom Rhodes kind of brings it home.
He brings
for
it
us.
home. Yeah. Tom is a really strong act, and he also is I could say that like he's of my generation of comics, and these other guys like they kind of know him at a certain point, but I know him from like the early days, and he always was a better comic than me. And like I was just out in LA, and he's out there now. Like when people go like, "Where's Tom?" He's like, he's out there. He's basically married to like one of the most exotically beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. She's like a Dutch Antilles, like super hot, just amazing. Like one of those, like in the Kane Mutiny. No, wait a minute. What's the Mutiny on the Bounty?
Right.
Like where they steal the ship and the girls are with the like that kind of hot.
And Marlon Brando just went away with her at the end, and
that kind of thing.
In real life.
Exactly.
Said, fuck it, I'm living on an island with this chick.
Yeah. So that, and he's a super cool dude, and he is a closer. Like Schubert is also like another guy who's a closer. But everybody on the show, I guess, could have closed it if I edited it differently or we moved it around. But we want to keep the order pretty much organic to the way it was shot.
Well, let's get a rebuttal on that. Somebody who may disagree with you.
Sure.
From South Korea, Tom Rhodes is on the phone with us.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
How you doing,
What's up, brother? Actually, I'm in Shanghai, China.
Shanghai, China. You're over there looking for, I guess, half brothers after your dad's Vietnam.
Are you playing that in the war? Yeah.
Yes.
Are you playing that disputed island chain between China and Vietnam and the Philippines? I'm playing the yucks on.
Well, we were trying to figure out in your career if you're really running like a CIA gimmick. This is the only reason you're playing these places.
I should. I don't know why they don't take advantage of me. I'm going everywhere, all over the world.
Because you can't be trusted. That's why they don't want you, Tom.
Tom Rose does comedy and kills tyrants.
So
that would be awesome.
What's this tour been like that you're on now?
I just did Seoul, Korea. Now I'm in Shanghai. I'm going to Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and then Kuala Lumpur before I come back and do gigs in California.
Can you go to the duty-free shop in Kuala Lumpur?
Yeah.
You know a guy, Ed, he works there. It's going to hand you a package. That's crazy, Tom. So who books this again? Or I mean, like, who is this?
There's a American guy and an Australian guy that run this. It's called Kung Fu Comedy Club in Shanghai. I did it in November when I did this China tour. It's amazing. The audience is like, I mean, everybody in the world is there. You know, Swiss people, Italian, German, French, American, loads of Americans, Canadians. It's awesome.
Hey, Tom, it's Jesse Joyce. Have you ever been to the Beach Club in Kuala Lumpur?
No.
You got to go. It's like 30 sad, fat Australian businessmen and 500 hookers. It's a really interesting vibe.
Okay.
I like those odds.
Yeah.
I'll see if my wife wants
fair
to go
fight. Yeah, Tom, where is your wife from again? Because I was trying to. I don't think I did her justice. She's Dutch, right?
She's originally from Suriname, which is a Dutch colony.
That's my favorite planet.
Small countries above Brazil.
Suriname, where's that? That's a Dutch colony where?
Actually, the Dutch traded Manhattan, what is now Manhattan, for Suriname.
Oh, I forgot to tell you this.
Probably one of the worst trades of all time.
Tom is like one of those guys, road smart, like really smart from the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom is like a big reader.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Tom, like you must have like a scholar. You just from like being on planes, you must have read more books than all of us all put together, right? I mean, like you're a big reader.
Yeah, I have insane. Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. I have insane frequent flyer miles.
Well, I think we're translating. But you're like well-read. You know a lot about a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like people go, this guy, like, you know, he's like whatever. He's like, you know, like a outdoor concert, Southern Fried Rock. No, he like knows a lot about like a lot of, you know, you've traveled so much, yet I don't think I've ever heard you speak another language. Like, can you speak other languages?
No, I know a little bit in Dutch and French and, you know, just enough pleasantries.
Pleasantries.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, every note I get from you, you say you stopped drinking after a little accident, huh?
Oh, my God. Yeah, no. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I was at Helium in Philadelphia for New Year's Eve. I had 3 shows. It was great. They wanted me to stay for the weekend. January 1st, I had off, and I was in a bar in Philadelphia, and I was watching the Fiesta Bowl. My brother was there. He went to UCF. The guy who's the quarterback of UCF went to my high school. I had 10 pints of Sierra Nevada. Pretty much a normal evening for me, but I blacked out, and I fell off this stool, and I busted my head open. And this guy goes, we gotta call an ambulance. And I'm like, I don't have health insurance. Don't you dare call an ambulance. And the guy's like, you got to get to a hospital. I'm like, how far is the hospital? He goes, 2 blocks. I'm like, 2 blocks and you were going to call an ambulance? That's like 15 grand. So, I don't know, man. I took that as a wake-up call. I just thought, you know, I'm going to take a break at least until the scar heals.
Oh, see?
Yeah, right.
I knew it.
Yeah, until the scar heals.
No, in L.A. he was telling me, like, dude, I'm done and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah.
No, I'm done. I'm enjoying it. And being on stage is the best part. I'm so focused. I've got total recall of jokes and stories. I just absolutely love it. And I still like hanging out. People are drinking. And people get so insecure when you're not drinking. And they realize somewhere in the night you're standing there with like a bottle of water or a Coke, and they get all, what are you, like a spy from Sober Land? Why are you drinking?
Yeah.
Tom, Big J. Okerson, if I may. You're still smoking weed, right?
Hey. Well, sir. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Not
Friendship
in China where
resumes.
it's punishable by death. I poured out my Tylenol before the plane landed.
Well, he is heading into the iron triangle of heroin and opium and all that kind of stuff. So who needs booze at this point? But I think, Tom, I still think that's great. It's very adult for you to give up the libations for a while. And if you can, I know that you're like, what's the time? What time is it there right now? Where you are?
It's 2 in the morning.
Okay, cool. So that means when the Comedy Underground goes off at 3 a.m. Western time, because it's on they replay it for the West Coast, then I think you will be the final. I guess he will be the final light before the end of it. So you'll be our final, like our correspondent. So it's up to you to give out the last tweet.
Okay.
Can you tweet there? Come on, sober. Write it down, for God's sake. Don't use your gun hand. Your gun hand's shaking. Use the other hand. It's like, don't work. I need a drink. Who's got some scope?
Scope.
So you're the final tweet of the show, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Twitter is blocked in China.
Oh, it is?
I'll tell you this, man.
Wait, hold on. Do it with kites. That's how they communicate over there. Kites.
Okay.
Flaming lanterns in the sky.
I'll tell you, man, there's a young comedy scene in Seoul, and there's a bunch of comedians here, and every week they've been watching the Comedy Underground when it goes online.
Oh, yeah?
And all these people over here, you wouldn't believe it, are following it and are excited about it in Asia. So, I mean, and I went to every taping. I was at I closed the last show. I mean, Jake killed, everybody killed, Schubert. Man, it was so much fun to be a part of. And Dave handpicked, most of the acts for that. Or
I suggested, yes. Now, are they watching Ras Comic Standing over there? Sorry, I had to.
I don't think I got it.
In honor of Jerry Lewis. I had to do it.
That's so weird now, though, that people in other countries can watch things on a computer.
That is mind-blowing.
It's weird.
And then comment on it.
Yeah.
In China, they've got, I mean, like, everybody here has Facebook and Twitter. I can't figure it out because I'm in a hotel. But all the expats that live here, they got whatever routing around things, and they're getting, like, if a TV show airs tonight, they'll be watching it tomorrow morning, like Game of Thrones, every show you can imagine. So people are on it here.
That's so crazy. When we looked up our the analytic things on our podcast yesterday, it's like when you see it's like a few people, whatever, like 100 or so people in Australia listen to it. You're like, it's still kind of weird. Like it's
strange,
it reaches
right?
there. Yeah, it's like, and even there's more than one person there is like pretty crazy. That's spread in some way. It's so cool.
I've done that on my podcast. My wife looks at the numbers. There's people listen to my podcast in Peru and Israel.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You look at like all the people around the world. It's like
but for you, that's ex-girlfriends. You're just sitting there pissed.
If I mention them,
It's children. It's illegitimate children.
That's a weird, like, what's my type? Peruvian chicks and Israeli hardcore pushy chicks.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
That's a whole different thing. Well, I brought this up before. When I was a little kid, the propaganda in America is that Russian chicks were the ugliest people in the world. So everything that would be done, the joke would be, oh, she's a Russian girl. Yeah. And then, the fucking wall comes down and shit, and every dancer now is a Russian, and they're all beautiful.
Right.
Now the Germans eat shit. Those big German nurse bitches.
Yeah, that was like a thing where they were always like these big man women, and then it turns out they are like the hottest.
They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
But they all become that, Brigitte Nielsen eventually, though. They all become like this, some big Amazonian...
over here in Korea and China, I've met Russians that are from like that kind of Uzbekistan.
Right.
I've been there.
Kind of where Asia meets Russia, and they're like, 6'3", and they look Asian and really stunning and sexy. Unbelievable.
Yeah, if you haven't seen a Russian stripper, I encourage you all to go down to the dockyards in Newark while they're unloading the cargo ships. And there's some beautiful women there.
I saw that episode of The Wire.
Well, that's I've been to Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. I think those are probably the only two countries, Tom, that I have over you. You've been like to...
You can have all the stands. I don't want to go to any of the stands.
Yeah, you haven't done any of that stuff, but you've done like every Asian country, right? Thailand, I remember you telling me about Cambodia, right? Were you in Cambodia?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I only went to Cambodia just to go to the temples of Angkor.
Well, why else would you go there? I mean, come on. I mean, really.
The food?
Right.
The killing fields?
The killing fields.
But other than that, there's a lot of comedy gigs all over Asia.
You should believe it. Dude, you should do a CD in Cambodia and call it The Killing Fields.
Oh, that would be so great. Unless he doesn't do well. But, Tommy, when did you do your special from Vietnam? What year was that?
Well, I went. It's been 20 years.
Wow, and nobody was doing shit like he did a Comedy Central thing from Vietnam.
There, Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton opened it for Americans to travel there in '94, and Comedy Central let me go there. It was just a few months after, and the only Americans who had gone there up to that point were like, veterans who were like, you needed to come to grips with some things, or
some villages
And Tom shows up with his rock'em sock'em robots. Come on, let's party.
I went in September '94, and it aired in '95 for the 20th anniversary.
Wow.
That is cool, man. You were like the first dude in. I love it.
And when was your dad in Vietnam?
69.
That's crazy.
That was a helicopter pilot.
Yes, that was a helicopter pilot.
Yeah, and he got shot down.
Yeah.
So
wasn't a good helicopter pilot, but he was a helicopter pilot. But that's
my father was. He flew helicopter pilots. He was shot down. Everyone died except for him and some other guy. And he dragged that guy across a field and got like 5 medals for it. My dad's buried in Arlington. Total war hero.
That's very cool. Man, Tom's family, super hardcore service.
Yeah. Everybody but Tom.
Yeah, but it's funny. He was killed by a drunk driver. So
it's an interesting story.
It's funny that he survived Vietnam. So I'm going to walk around Vietnam going, hey, thanks for not killing my dad.
Right. All right, Tommy, good to talk to you, buddy. You're closing out this first season of the Comedy Underground.
Thanks for having me.
By the way, Tell called you the Stones before.
Yeah, you're always on the road, man.
But we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Now let's get Al Jackson on the phone. Where's he?
Yeah,
He's sleeping.
We're getting diabetes.
It's the season finale of David Tell's Comedy Underground this Saturday, 1 a.m. Better get your ass up for this. 1 a.m. Eastern on Comedy Central. It's raw, it's uncensored, real stand-up comedy. Dave's also going to be at Hilarities in Cleveland, Ohio. Screw Johnny Football. David Tell's coming to Cleveland on June 20th and 21st. On Comedy Underground, Jesse Joyce will be there. Jesse, he's going to hit the spot in Arizona. That's Scottsdale, Arizona, at the Comedy Spot, June 13th and 14th. Tom Rhodes is on Comedy Underground this week. He's performing in Shanghai, China, doing Kung Fu comedy, and everyone's going to be Kung Fu laughing. And Big Jay Okerson's in studio with us tonight and tomorrow. He stands them up and knocks them down at the Stand. 2 shows, 8 and 10 o'clock.
That one was the best. I have to say, that one was the best.
He picked up a little bit, but, we do have sound effects, lasers. I mean, you got to reach out through those speakers and grab people. They're in their cars, they're in their offices, they're at home.
Okay.
You got to make them care a little bit.
That was like
window dressing to catch them.
No, but that was like the Riddler. Like you were like throwing out.
Okay. They were like riddles.
Like, yeah, exactly. Each person's tour date was like another like fiendish thing.
And it all came together in a puzzle at the end.
I liked it. If this was Star Search and I was judging the spokesmodels, Fez, you would have gotten 4 stars.
Yes.
Thank you.
You know what I like about that, Big J? You brought it all back around again. You brought you brought that whole thing.
So it begins, so it shall end.
Yeah,
Comedy Underground with David.
So you guys wouldn't want to play these gigs that Rhodes plays, these crazy fly for 28 hours.
I don't know how he does it.
Minutes.
I've done a decent amount of international stuff, and it's like cool to do it, but like with the frequency that he does it, it's like that's something where it's like, oh, I'm going to Australia for 2 weeks, and that's like a thing. It's like a real that's like an event that's happening. It's like I don't want to go from there. Then to like Vietnam, and then to like there's like long stretches. The beauty of what
he's done with it is you think I need to get home, and he is with his chick, and they're like, we are home.
Yeah,
it's like
our home.
Oh no, it's absolutely. Because I said I don't mind doing. I said I've done those tours across like America. I've been on the road for like a month and a half straight, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It's like that internet. I'm very like. We've had this conversation before, even where it's like, you know, the problem is I go out in Australia and I'm like, where's Denny's, man? Like, where's the stuff I just know? Like, I have no. Like,
you need a Denny's.
I'm not. I'm just not. I'm trying to get better at becoming more of an explorer and like let me drink in like your local culture. I'm very like, I just want to see what I know. I get very like, I try to stop myself from doing it. I said I was just in Dallas. Same thing. I was like, oh, Hooters, great. Daytona wings, perfect.
Well, you should do it no matter where you go, what town, ask for where the Little Philadelphia section is. Where they sell bad hoagies.
There was that one guy who went to Philly that one time and makes a cheesesteak now.
Yeah.
I did Djibouti in the Horn of Africa. We have a military base there, and then we went into Djibouti City, which is like it looks exactly like Black Hawk Down, you know, the city itself. And but the cute thing is that they just steal logos from famous like Fortune 500 companies and just slap them on their building, but they don't have anything to do, or their tent or whatever, they don't have anything to do with what the business is. So like there was a Planet Hollywood pharmacy. You know what I mean? It's just like a recognizable logo. So like nobody's going to check. And that was the thing. You just reminded me. They had a Hooters grocery store.
Nice.
In Muslim
with
Djibouti
the owl
City.
With the eyes.
Yeah,
like
it was the owl with the eyes. And it was a grocery. There was just like mangoes. There's some
amazing. There's some donut place, I think, somewhere on the Upper East Side that's like it's clearly like Dunkin' Donuts, but it's something close to it.
Those are all my favorite, where you put the D backwards and you act like, no, I don't understand.
Or it's like Dunking Donuts. It's like a G.
Yeah.
I like how we went from Djibouti to the Upper East Side. That really is like
Tom Rhodes.
He's relating.
Djibouti City. I would. This was, if I had to do that gig, and I've done the USO, I would be like, "Can we let the curse on here?"
Yeah.
Okay. This is Djibouti City, bitch. You don't bring your. This isn't the Sudan. This is Djibouti. I like try and like pump them up, but the whole time it'd be like, "What a shithole this is." Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's got to be like I thought that would be like our F troop. Let's send them to Djibouti, but that's like where all the action is now. Like, you know, oh, we'll send this kid to Djibouti.
Right. No, that's where like a lot of Marines are in Djibouti.
It's all happening there now.
Yeah.
But I guess there's ways that you could fuck up in all these gigs without realizing you've done something to the locals. You know what I mean? Like there's some phrase, looking directly at people, because everybody has shit that they hate.
When I went to South Africa, it was fun. I went with a comic named Todd Lynn, who passed away now, Todd. But he was like a very, very talk about a curmudgeon, just like a real like bitter dude. Yeah, and we were in the transport. I'll use the foreign terms. Yes, he's black. Yeah, but Todd, very like kind of bitter dude, and we're in the transport. It's Jim Jeffries before he ever came to America. We're all in this car, and we're being driven by a black dude in South Africa, and there's a black comic from South Africa in the car with us also, and Todd was sitting in the back. He was being very antisocial, and I remember some of the comics were like, we're all getting to know each other. It's kind of a fun, like, there's a group of like 10 of us that is going to be together for like 3 weeks. And they're like, "What's Todd's problem?" Like, "Todd, what's your problem in the back? Like, why do you have such an angry face on?" He's like, "Because I'm an angry guy." He's like, "What are you angry for?" He goes, "Because I'm a black man living in America. That's why." And then everyone got quiet in the van. And then we stopped at a gas station, and the driver guy went inside. And then, weirdly enough, just like 2 other guys, and one of them was the black African comic, went inside. And then, and Todd went inside also, and I was like, "Sorry, guys." I'm like, "Todd's he's fine. Like, you guys don't have to blanket him. He's just being like a fucking jerk off right now." And, they go, "Yeah, it's just kind of a weird thing to say, like, black man in America is angry." He goes, "I mean, basically slavery ended here like a decade ago." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess." But he said, like, and everyone got really weird and shut down for me. Like, "Oh, yeah, what a dumb thing to fucking say. What a stupid American thing to yell out in South Africa."
They were the last in too, man. I mean, it wasn't that. And finally, it's like, okay, no one is going to talk to us until we end this shit.
It took Hall & Oates saying they weren't going to play Sunset.
Finally, and really, to tell you the truth, only Hall didn't want to go. Oates was fucking fine.
Oates would have went.
Yeah, Oates is like, we got a gig. Who are we to turn this
Hollywood
down?
secret, Oates loves slavery.
But that's how when I look at that time of like all these countries that have been renamed, like Rhodesia and all this, that's when you really know that like the people that you really subjugated the people where they're like, okay, now we're in charge. We're renaming this whole thing. Forget it. We're gonna call it Candy Lollipop. We don't care. We don't care. But we got all the flags and everything. We're doing everything over.
New flags.
We're remodeling this dump.
It's like what happens when you get a used boat. You just fucking you just strip it. Just fucking strip the whole thing and start fresh.
12-year project. Get new seats.
We should do that every 4 years here. We should rename the country.
I think the odds are sooner or later one of those deals is going to happen here. You know?
Think?
Yeah. I just think sooner or later it'll come down to money or something like that. But I think that you
Culture war?
Yeah, you might see it in your lifetime. People just fucking freak out because people are ready to do it now. They're armed to do it now. Mm-hmm. People talk about it now all the time. I never would have, in my lifetime, thought that people would be talking about, like, I hope the fucking government rolls in here sometime. Fucking blast them. And you're like, what? Are you serious? But yeah, the thought is out there. The thought bubble is going around.
I do love my one of my best friends, like a libertarian guy, and I do love that excuse for like the having guns,
right?
Because we got to defend ourselves against if we have to uprise against the government. If the government comes for us, I just don't think it's happening, man.
Well, but that worked when everybody had muskets, when that was the most you could have, right? You know, so it's like they have more muskets, but we also have muskets.
But see, here's the thing: the people that want to talk about it now are the people who are military people. You know what I mean? So, like, when I was younger, it was the people to the left who would say, fuck this country.
Yeah.
Now, the Archie Bunker types are like, fuck this country. Fuck America.
Yeah.
Sucks. Get them out of here. And there's people always ready to go, I'll come blasting out of my house. You're like, really?
Not a house so much as a trailer or a cabin.
All right, see, now it's stereotyping in its own way, Jesse.
Blasting out of a compound, maybe.
I think people are exhausted. Like even in New York, like where there was like all these big. Because in New York, it's really always about like, what can I do to make you feel bad about your life?
Right.
You know, like. For a while there, it was like everybody was in the 80s, like Wolf of Wall Street, you know, big boats, hot chicks. Now it's the other way of like, oh, you use deodorant, we make deodorant. Oh, oh, you go to Whole Foods, we farm in our little plot here in Brooklyn. So what's the next thing here of like making you feel like you're a bad person? You know
it's constant now. And it's really, remember when like that fucking movie Escape from New York came out? It was like, at the time, it seemed like that could have happened. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like New York is going to go back that. But now we're at the fucking point where like, unless you're really, really wealthy, you can't even vacation here. It's gotten that expensive.
It's all about Euro tourists coming here.
Yeah.
Basically, they kind of like rule the town. And the rest of us, I don't know. There's the people on the bikes who seem to be, they're in their own little world here. And then there's us, the closeted ferret wanna owners. Right. And, will we ever be able to, the last guilty pleasure of owning a ferret? What if
I bet you there are people who, like, that's going to take the fun out of it for them when ferret ownership is legalized. They're not going to want to do it anymore.
But what if I train them to do, like, cool things, jewel thief? You remember those movies?
Yeah,
there was a series of, like,
was it Beastmaster Assistant?
Beastmaster, yes. A hawk, a ferret. Then you need some muscle. You got to get a lion in there. That was another pothead movie.
I think all of those things are probably in a couple of apartments in Harlem right now. Doesn't there always like some scary black drug dealer guy's got like a wolf?
Yeah, and an
he's got a wolf in his apartment.
It's always
an
when
ostrich and a wolf.
Like you didn't earn your money when you're ready to spend it on stupid shit. Like Mike Tyson, he feels guilty, so he's got white lions. Just like I don't know how to waste this money fast enough. Yeah, just how fast can I waste it?
How much do you need to like impress somebody for like 10 minutes to have like a lion or like whatever? It's like, conversationally this isn't working. Hey, look in this room over here. That's an alligator in my bathtub. Huh? All right, dude, I win. All right,
come check out the game room.
Tracy Morgan has a shark swimming around in his rec room next to his kids. Got my shark.
But how much does he enjoy it? Like I gotta let everybody leave. Just me and the shark for like 10 minutes.
I feel good now that I have a shark. I finally feel good.
When I was a kid, I wanted to have an ant farm. Do you remember those things?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure now that's probably illegal to have like an ant farm or something like that, especially in this town. But, and that would be the coolest because it was like, the worst. Like they would build like this little thing and then you would just stare at it. And then if you were a dick, you'd shake it up and let them, like destroy the world and let them rebuild it. So, I don't know. There was definitely some kind of, I guess, godlike, you're a narcissist or something like that. You might see them rebuild the world for you or something.
It's the same way God feels about us. You're just looking over.
Absolutely.
You're like, I'm so fucking bored. I'm going to shake this ant farm like it's an extra sketch. Yeah.
I've never understood with the sea monkeys how, like, they keep them in a package in a warehouse for like 16 years and then all you got to do is pour water on them and they come to life.
Isn't it like a fungus of some kind? Yeah. But they're not real monkeys.
No.
They won't do anything you tell them to do.
Is that why it was so tough to put a diaper on them? I was trying.
Jesse, they won't love you back.
They my sea monkeys ripped my neighbor's face off, so I'll have you know.
That was sad. I felt bad for the monkey. I felt bad for the monkey.
Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to have an adult chimp.
But you, did you ever get to see monkeys?
I think so, yeah. You could order away from them from like a catalog or whatever.
Right. It was a comic book.
Rise of the Planet of the Sea Monkeys.
If you think about those ads in the back of comic books, it was just a way to steal money from children.
Yeah.
Every ad was just a lie, a total lie.
What had the payoff, though, the little dinosaur that would be this big, and you put it in a 2-liter bottle, and then a day later it fills the 2-liter bottle.
It's a sponge.
That was big.
You got a sponge.
I did buy a sponge. It was super dehydrated, though. I could have dehydrated like that myself. I had to order that. That, we used to order the pay $1 and we'll send you a compilation of porn trailers videotape. We used to do that too when we were younger.
All right, we're going to break for just a minute. Be right back. David Tell's here with his comedy thugs. They are kicking ass. And this, I can't believe it. We're at the final show of the first season.
Yeah.
What a lineup, too. Jesse Joyce, Al Jackson, Tom Rhodes, and then special guest Ron Jeremy. That's the Comedy Underground this weekend. We'll be right back. Ron Fez.
I thought these kids, if they had those bouncy trampolines, they wouldn't.
They'd be happier. They'd be happy the rest of their life.
When I was a kid, I was always like, why don't we have a trampoline?
Yeah.
And it was like, how can we have one? And now every kid has one of those things.
And then they're not happy now.
No.
We thought that would be ultimate happiness once you get a nice trampoline.
I thought it would shake the kid like those spirographs and like redo their head. Like, I'm evil. Okay.
So you could actually say to, like, as a child psychiatrist, we're going to spirograph your child's brain.
Yeah.
We're going to just bounce and bounce and bounce till you basically have a new kid.
Exactly.
At the end of this.
I can tell you how many bounces will get like, the evil out of him. This kid, he's a hard kid. 20 bounces, easy.
Yeah. That is the whole thing to parenting too, because like we were just talking about the shooter, the YouTube shooter out in California, where a lot of people are blaming it on the parents, but it's such a roll of dice when you have kids.
Yeah,
like you don't know,
You should have some perspective, though, if you have a fucking weirdo for a kid. I think his parents should at least recognize that.
They did.
Like, I have a weirdo.
Yeah, no, they did. They called the cops on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a weird thing to just let it go. Like, somehow it was just like...
It's just like no one really knows how their dog is. They're just, they think they got a great dog, no matter what it is. Look at that dog, he's great. If it ain't yours, you're like, I don't know, I think he sucks. But the people who own it, they're going to love that dog.
He's probably vicious and bites people. But...
Yeah, sometimes. But the other times he's nice. But nothing you can do. Nothing we can do.
These kids, like, if we're going to talk about it, it's like, what really gets me is how comfortable they are with showing off their parents' wealth and money and like stuff like, here I am in a Beamer, here I am in a jet, here I am flying first class.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's all their dad or their mom's money, and it's like, like when I was growing up, like if you brought kids over your house and like you had like 2 TVs, you'd be like, hide one of those TVs. They're going to think like, like we're really rich or something. And we're not that rich,
Well, that's because I grew up the same way in a neighborhood where every dad made about the same amount of money. In my neighborhood, no one had any real money, but no one was starving. Now it just seems like that there's these huge extremes, gigantic extremes between wealth and poverty.
I think Philly had much more of like a, you think you're fucking better than my family?
Right.
Right.
And yeah, you could get in a fight by getting new pants. You had to really
that kind of thing.
Play it down. You're not going to get called fucking gay because your sneakers are white.
But you wouldn't be so
seasons.
You wouldn't be so proud of like something like that. Your parents, you know, it'd be one thing if like you like worked mowing lawns and then you bought like some shitty car and then you're like, dude, this is my car and I'm gonna like get it all detailed. That would be like, whoa, this guy's cool. But if it was like your dad's car, like even you would be like, yeah, like whatever, although I need it for my studies or something.
Although when we turned 16, every Jewish kid would pull up with a tinted out car and a super loud stereo and be like, bar mitzvah money, motherfucker. Like, came into play. Yeah. They all got cars with their bar mitzvah money. I was just not that kind of Jewish. I didn't get bar mitzvah, and my family wouldn't. I didn't do it because I was like, no one has money anyway. I'm not going to get car money. I'm just going to have a really boring religious party.
So, I mean, that is the worst thing, to be born Jewish and not have business-minded people.
Is it unreal to be the... Yeah, I reap no benefits.
Yeah, it's like being black with a small dick. You're like, what is the...
It's right, being black with a small dick. Yes, absolutely. Coming from white trash Judaism. Jews aren't supposed to be at biker barbecues, but we were.
Yeah, you were like the masked Jews. You were like the hardcore. Yeah,
that
like the movie The Mask
touches me for that reason. Yeah, exactly.
Rocky.
Like a bunch,
you were Rocky.
Yeah, like some dude my mom was like getting piped by, brings me a tuxedo for prom. Hey, kid, we stole this for you.
They were all happy when you started dating the blonde girl that you didn't know.
The blonde girl who touched my face. I never let her touch my tits, though. She would have known. Then she would have known.
That would be really. When I see that movie now, I'm gonna always think of you and your family. So that's good. So I'm going to watch it again.
My mom was like Cher, skinny with big Jewish titties.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, she was a young mom, right? You told us.
Yeah, she was 19 when she had me, yeah.
Yeah, planned. You were a planned baby.
Probably. She's not bright.
Jay, remember when we were on the road and your dad showed up?
Yes.
That was cool. And like you were all nervous about it, and I was like, don't be so nervous about it, or whatever. And then I realized it's the first time you'd seen him in a long time.
It's like 10 years.
I was like, oh man,
and he started
you don't want that on the road.
Him defending himself right away to my buddy Dave was with me on the road, and I immediately went, I was like, he showed up like pretty early, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go take a shit in the shower. And my dad's claim to fame is that he took I think I said it before, my London fog jacket off layaway, yeah. And he told him, like, and it was in 5 minutes I was gone. He goes, hey, I get a bad rap, but I got that London fog jacket off layaway. Like,
you still have it?
I do.
It would be great if you had like a jazz singer moment where like he goes, you're not that great a comic, and you go, well, you're not that great a dad. And then you get into a motorcycle sidecar and drive off. Crazy adventure.
Was like punchline when his dad shows up. He's like, nothing.
It's the season finale of Dave Attell's Comedy Underground.
That was mid-conversation.
It airs this Saturday at 1 a.m. on Comedy Central. Is it uncensored, Fez? Fuck yeah, it is.
Wow, that's good.
And it's followed by Dave's special Road Work, airing right after a Comedy Underground with Dave Attell, the season finale. And will Cleveland rock? Hell yeah, it will. Cleveland rocks on June 20th and 21st when Dave Attell will be at Hilarities. Go to daveattell.com. Check out one of Dave's favorite projects, Operation Purple, at militaryfamily.org. Donate today or me and Dave are going to come mess you up. Also in studio, Jesse the People's Choice Joyce, appearing on the finale of Dave Attell's Comedy Underground this Saturday, 1 a.m. on Comedy Central. And then he's hitting Arizona harder than an anti-immigration law at the Comedy Spot in Scottsdale, Arizona, June 13th and 14th. And in studio, we've got Big J all the way Okerson. At the Stand tonight, tomorrow night with 2 shows at 8 and 10. Legion of Skates can be found on cavecomedyradio.com and iTunes. It's your guest today, Dave Attell, and the Comedy Underground bookends from the first Comedy Underground, Big J Okerson, and for the finale, Jesse Joyce.
I highlight was Jesse's credits because he had like a little something on everyone.
Yeah, it was really nice. But
that's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was
nice. People's Choice Joyce.
Yeah.
Actually, my grandfather ran for some dumb public office in the 50s, and that was his campaign slogan.
Oh, so you stole that, huh? Guys, way to go.
I voted in that election.
That much of a logical
I mean, seriously.
It's pretty easy.
Can I just say something? You brought a lot of embarrassment to the show with that line. And it was kind of, it was a little bit messy. I know, I know that you wanted it to do well. It just didn't work.
It had all the explosions and lasers.
Too many, though. Too many.
Too many.
Too much?
Yeah. Less is more.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you just really undersell it next time? Just take out that music and the sound
really.
effects.
I mean,
and just kind of monotone.
I mean, the best advice I could give you is everything that you did was wrong and really bad.
Wow.
Terrible.
Because that was a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, everything. And even some of the memories you had of your childhood. It's all just bad, and it's never going to get better.
I hate to play devil's advocate, but it wasn't that bad.
Okay, maybe not that. You've done
How's
worse.
that being the devil's advocate?
Yes.
It wasn't that bad. It was a compliment.
Like that.
Because Godzilla's new, it's fresh, is what the kids are.
What is this, Buck Rogers?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
All right, I'll do better next time.
It was good, but we're always going for better.
You can always do better. Like your mom used to say to you, this room can be cleaner.
I don't see how, Mom.
See, it all happens. That's what happens.
That's great because I'm promoting the Cleveland gig about a month out. That's excellent. Which I think that people like every comic in this room will back me up. Always like, you'll do the show, you'll promote it, you do great radio, you do some okay radio, and then you promote, and then as you're leaving the gig, somebody got to go like, dude, I didn't know you were in town. This way, no one cannot know that I'll be there. It's a month out now.
Yeah.
They can pull in the harvest, whatever they got to do. They got like plenty of warning. It's coming. But am I right? You do the gig.
Oh, I tweeted about a specific, I'm going to be at the, at the Hilarities in Cleveland, and some dude replied to that tweet. Yeah. Are you ever going to be in Cleveland? And it was like,
amazing.
Are you out of your fucking, you know what I mean? And it wasn't being clever. It was literally, he just didn't even bother to read what the tweet he was replying to was.
That's crazy.
I simply push a gig happening in the better part of 5 hours.
That's all you give it?
You know what?
You give people 5 hours
tickets
notice?
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah, why don't you man it up and go you got 3 hours to buy the tickets and then that's it. I'm never, that's it.
If I give credits too far out, they won't have me back here. I gotta be like, guys, gotta come in 2 weeks for my Denver gig.
I like this. Still, the comics who Dave Chappelle, right? Mm-hmm. He can sell something out in hours. I think that's still amazing.
Right.
That's even more amazing. I don't even care what the venue is, but when it's a cool venue too, like Radio City, 3 hours.
Boom.
It's I love that. Everybody loves that kind of thing.
I think Kevin Hart did the Garden.
Sold it out.
I think Kevin Hart did the Garden in
hours.
Well, Kevin Hart's in every single movie now.
It's unbelievable.
Every single movie he's in. I don't know how his life. There must be a couple Kevin Harts.
It's always an angel. It's always an angel, just something that's always over my shoulder, going to a movie theater, and I'm like $18 a ticket. Whew, that's a lot. And then looking over, just seeing 3 Kevin Hart posters. I'll pay for it. I'll get there one day.
Yeah. Mark my words.
Jay and him are both from Philly.
Yeah.
I don't want to treat it like it's my last money.
You guys came up together.
You did.
Yeah. He kept going up, though.
Yeah, but to me, it's a mirrored career between the two of you.
Yeah,
Kevin was hit by the funny van. They both were walking out of a comedy club after their first set. A meteor with funny written on it hit Kevin right in the face. Another smaller meteor with long road ahead of me. Jay.
All because Jay stopped to fucking tie his shoes.
Yes.
Or he would have been Kevin Hart. It would be like another big Jay fucking Okerson movie. It's unbelievable.
Jay's a good actor, though. I'm
learning to get happy with my career.
Well, I just saw you on the Amy Schumer thing, which I thought was funny, and the gangbang thing.
Yeah.
By the way, her show, the writing on that show is so strong.
Kurt Metzger.
Yeah,
I know it's more than Kurt, but I know Kurt's a big part of the writing over there.
Amy writes a lot of it too. I think that's great. irreverent, yet smart, yet
it is
super funny, and
it is. It should be getting more love from the critics because it's not easy to do that kind of sketch thing that she's doing, and there's the show just flows. It's really, really strong.
Yeah. Everybody in the comedy world loves it, and like when she tweets out like for my show, for the Comedy Underground show, it's great, and her followers are like super hardcore, comedy people. Because, like, let's face it, sketch comedy, which I don't know what you think about sketch comedy, but, like, if it's done right, there's nothing better. But if it's done wrong, you're like, wow, what was that? You know? And she hits it pretty much all the time. I don't know, Jesse, have you ever written sketches?
I don't think I have really. No, it's like I'm kind of mostly a gun for hire for jokes.
You're a put down master.
You're a gag man.
You're a gag man. You come in with an old doctor bag, pull out a rubber chicken. Every place is your office.
Relax, we can save this. Let's go over it.
I light a cigar and it explodes while I get to work. Yeah,
but it is true. Like if you follow Twitter with Saturday Night Live on, sketch will kill, and it's going well. And as soon as there's the first bad sketch, everyone acts like, cancel this fucking show. It's awful. Because it's hard to sit through a bad sketch. It's not a pleasant thing.
It's hard to sit through a sketch that doesn't have a good ending. You need to end. It's like, that seems like the hardest thing to do is get out of, even trying to write short, like even might be like sketch webisode, whatever it is, like the out, like a funny out for anything seems like the most difficult thing for sketches to pull off.
See, this could be where like Metzger could end up getting an Emmy nomination.
That would be great.
Wouldn't it be fucking great to see him go walking up at the Emmys?
That bug-eyed weirdo? Yeah. Hey, everyone, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, dang, that big Frankenstein with his too many inches of wrist exposed from his short jacket. Hey, everyone. Hey, they give you an Emmy for this, too?
That's a great impression. You nailed it. Yeah.
I know. He has to get more famous, and I'm going to take that one on the road. All right, guys. Kurt Metzger eating pizza with Eddie Murphy.
I'm very lucky to get all these guys on the show now. Before they all pop, I think they're all going to go on to amazing, at least hour specials, the majority of them, acting and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I got them kind of like I Colonel Parkered them, you know what I'm saying? I got them when they were, soft-headed. The skull was too soft. No, these guys have been doing it forever, but it was very good.
Like the modern Dirtiest Dozen.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that movie?
Yeah.
The stand-up film? Because, half of those guys went on to do great shit, and the other half is like, who the fuck's that guy,
There was an actual movie called The Modern Dirtiest Dozen.
No, I'm saying yours is the modern version of The Dirtiest Dozen. You remember that? It was like the first concert stand-up movie.
Jackie Martling was in it, right? Is that the one?
Yeah, him Hicks. And Chris Rock when he was like 18, and Hicks and Tim Allen and Thea Vidal and John Fox. And then I have no idea who the rest of the fucking guys were.
That's your test on whether you're drunk or not. If you can name the modern Dirtiest Dozen, sir, get out of your car. Give me 6
extra
of the 12.
credit if you can name a dirty baker's dozen.
I love it.
Well, the season finale of Comedy Underground. David Tell, that ends this Saturday, 1 a.m. Comedy Central. Let's see the lineup. Jesse Joyce, Al Jackson, I like him best. He's not here. Tom Rhodes, special guest Ron Jeremy. Expect some dick jokes.
Okay, man, don't go out like that.
Dave's going to be at Hilarities in Cleveland, Ohio, June 20th and 21st. Yeah, davidtell.com for tickets. Can't get enough there. Militaryfamily.org. That's real cheery. Donate to Operation Purple.
Come on, be a pro, dude. You're better than this.
Jesse, it's never enough for him. Joyce, he's going to be on Comedy Underground season finale. And then the Comedy Spot in Scottsdale, Arizona, where people go to die, June 13th to 14th, comedyspot.net. And Big J, Gimme Okerson, going to be at the Stand tonight and tomorrow with shows at 8 and 10 p.m. Yeah, the food's real great. Legion of Skanks can be found on cavecomedyradio.com and I believe iTunes. Hurrah.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. You know what you did, Fez? You just took poison and wanted the world to get sick, and it doesn't work that way.
That's how I feel.
Okay?
I feel. I give and I give.
Yourself. All right?
I'll take that poison.
I bet you take all 4 of those plugs, and you edit them together, and you have something really great.
Work on that. Can you get that done?
Intro.
In the next 60 seconds.
I'm done for the weekend.
Okay.
I loved it. Yeah. You know why? Because now I was like, wow. he made us take a step further into it.
Yeah.
Before he was in your face, it was like bang, 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 bukkake of info.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it was like, what's happening there? Is it Angel dying? What is it?
Take a look at yourselves and your careers. There you go.
No,
there you go. I like that.
You know what you did, Fez? You got quiet, and everyone leaned in, and it was really, really nice.
You leaned in.
You know, it's like you sat on the stool for a second and said, you know what? I let the band walk off the stage.
Yeah.
I'm going to sing this one a cappella. I saw Tony Bennett do it one time. It was everyone in the place cried.
So you've gone 180 on it. Now you think it might be the best of all four.
No. I'm never going to give him a break. I think all four were terrible. I really do. I think you let yourself down, Fez.
I feel let down today.
Well, dudes, thanks so much and congratulations too. I mean, this is a cool thing you pulled off,
dudes. First of all, to the comics, thank you so much for doing this, guys coming in, of course, and to the comedy fans, thank you guys for supporting the show. But to you guys, man, I cannot tell you how cool it is to get here and talk comedy with the other comics, and the fact that you guys are so supportive of the show. You got it right away, and thank you, man. Really,
all right.
Honestly.
Well, it's always open. Anytime that you got anything in your head you want to come in and talk about,
I love it.
You can come on in. All right, that's it for us. We're out of here. We'll see you guys back here on Monday. Take care.
That's the end of my show. Donk.